Welcome to A View from the Summit, where we explore the unique relationships between animals and humans, whether it's an Olympic partner or couch buddy, a working companion or unique pet, a world champion or someone you think the world of. Join us for a look at animals in our lives. Brought to you by Summit Animal Health. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting View from the Summit. Today, I promised a big show, but we're talking really big. I mean, huge. Like, it even has a name, Clyde. But before you get to meet Clyde, I'm going to introduce you to someone she is bigger than all outdoors, because that's where she is most of the time, outdoors, chasing her feral child or cows or whatever she does up there in the woods. Robin, how are you?
I'm great, Steve. Thanks. And I don't know about bigger than big, but we just try to keep all the ducks kind of running in the same general direction around here.
Oh, so now it's ducks. I thought it was cows, but okay.
Well, cows, goats, whatever.
Duck herder.
Right. Well, we're up here northwestern Minnesota, my husband and daughter and I, and we love animals. So one of the things on this show we love to do is we always feature some kind of amazing connection with people and their animals, or animals and their humans, right? And so really excited today that my good buddy Clint Mortenson's on here, and he has a whole laundry list of talents and experience, which if you ever look him up, we'll put all the connections in later. He's pretty cool dude. But today he's going to share a really special connection he has with a very special Clyde buddy who happens to be a buffalo. And Clyde has appeared in all kinds of things. We're going to let Clint tell you about it, but we're super excited to hear more about Clyde, and Clint more about you. So thank you and welcome, Clint.
Thank you. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. And just as we kick it off, for everybody watching or listening, it's on YouTube and all the other listening channels for podcasts. Tell us a little bit about you, just where you are, just a brief, background, because having a buffalo that grew up in your house is not what everybody has. So just tell us a little bit.
Right. Well, my name's Clint Mortenson. I grew up in South Dakota. We were trained horses. My family just raised and trained horses up there. That's how I grew up. And then I'd moved to California for a little bit and lived on a little sailboat and was training horse at Will Rogers State Park, and then moved to Paris for Disneyland Paris when they started the Buffalo Bills Wild West show in '92. And so I moved over to Paris for a year and performed in that, and then kept going back for 24 years in a row, repairing all the saddles and stuff. And then I started a saddle shop, and I've had a saddle shop for about 30 years now, and do custom saddles and buckles and leather goods. And then a few years ago, my neighbor was over and he said he was about to have some buffalo calves, and I said I'd like to have one, and he said, "No, you're a cowboy. We do stuff for rescues, and you're gonna rope him." And I go, "No, he'll be a pet." So he finally said I could have one. I got Clyde when he was 2 weeks old, and Clyde the Buffalo, and then just bottle fed him and just kept him outside with the dogs, and he just would sleep on the doorstep. People could tell if I was in my shop or in the house. If he was laying on the doorstep of the house, I was here, or else he was up at the shop, and people have to step over him to get into my shop. And yeah, one time he got up and kind of wrecked a guy, but when you stepping across, yeah. But and then he just plays with the dogs, and I was wondering when he's going to figure out he's a buffalo, but I don't think he will. He's still like you can go down my rope and steers, and I put him in with them, and him and the dogs, they would cut the cattle. They'd go and stop and turn them back. He would with the dogs and stuff. So I don't think he thinks he's a bovine. So anyway.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. So he's 8 now? He's almost 8?
Yeah, he'll be 8 in May. He'll be 8. Yeah.
And how much does he weigh?
He's getting close to 2,000 pounds. That's it. Just about 2,000 now. He's probably done growing but he's pretty gentle. Like we lead him around, and I had a custom bit made for him and stuff. We ride him a little bit and lead him around. Got to start riding him more, but he's easy to put a halter on. And now, like loading him in the trailer, like I take him to photo shoots and movies and stuff. So when he was real little, I could just drag him in the trailer, and then he got a little bigger, and he'd drag me out of the trailer, and then got to where he didn't want to load, but now he just jumps right in and loads pretty easy. Actually, we were going up to do a photo shoot for Banana Republic, and I had a little grain in a bucket, and he jumped in so fast he tripped and hit me, and that hurt. I had some cracked ribs after that, but
Ouch.
it's just an accident. Yeah.
So how do people find out about it? Do you have an agent?
I guess, no, actually it's word of mouth, I guess. And like he's been in a few different shows. Like there's this Outer Range with Josh Brolin and Amazon, and he's in every episode of that. And his buffalo with spirit animal and has some arrows in him, and then he's been in that show TV series Yellowstone. He had a short stint in that, got hit by Monica, I guess, and she lost her baby and stuff. She's walked across the road. And then some other ads like Yeti commercials and Banana Republic, and it's in Bass Pro Shops commercial not too long ago. And
so does he demand his own trailer and own makeup person, and
yeah.
has the stardom hit him?
He is a little bit arrogant, I think. He's kind of, it's funny, like he knows he's special. Like even one of the shoots is the other stylists come up and, well, let me brush him. I'm do the hair and makeup, and they start brushing him, and he jumps to the side, and they go, well, I thought he was friendly, and I go, oh, he's pretty friendly for a buffalo. But anyway, and then I can lead him into I've led him into little bars and stuff in Aspen and stuff. And he's pretty good about leading him into strange places that you wouldn't expect, a lot of horses wouldn't even want to go into and stuff, but he's pretty trusting, I guess. So I think he doesn't want to get left alone. He's kind of a baby, actually.
Yeah.
We had the other day and had to get him to run. He's supposed to be getting shot by an arrow, and then so we had to get him to spin around. Had a few horses come up and make him spin, and then they had to get him to run, and you can't really chase him and stuff. I used to on horseback, but now he can't really. So what I did was got in the back of like a side-by-side four-wheeler and had a little bucket of grain, and we took off, and he didn't want to get left behind. He takes off and running behind us, and I said, faster, faster, and he's just running right behind, where instead of us chasing him, he's just he's following us because he doesn't want to get left behind, I think, and stuff. So that worked out.
Yeah. That's awesome. So training, I mean, you train horses your whole life, but training a buffalo, is it pretty much the same, or kind of how?
A lot of it is, but it's not as easy. Like even like loading or getting them in a corral and stuff, like a horse or a cow, they start going in, you can run up to the gate and they shoot to the other side. Buffaloes have this survival instinct where he has that little gap and he'll run over you just because he knows that's that only way to get out and stuff. So they are different. They think, and I thought they were dumb originally because I thought that's why they cut them, because they don't sour like cattle. They can keep cutting them and cutting them. I thought they must be really dumb to do that, but they are smart. I know he was, one day I was sitting on the couch and I could hear the door handle moving around, and that's when I was keeping outside. And here he figured out how to open my door. He's 4 months old and figured out how to open the door. There's no human or horse is going to figure that out in 4 months, but this buffalo did. It has that little thing you push down with your thumb, and he does with his nose and just pushes the door open and walks in, just like, yeah.
And lays down on the sofa.
Kid locked himself in my kid's room one time. We come back from roping, and the door was open. I said, shit, I forgot to lock the door. And then we come in the house, and he didn't make a mess and didn't knock anything over. He wasn't even in here. And then I looked at my son's room, and the door was shut. I just opened up the door, and Jesus, he'd been in there a few hours, and it was wrecked. I mean, you could tell he was up on the bed and knocking up windows, trying to get out. He was scared to death. And oh man, it was, we threw away a lot of stuff that day. Yeah.
Oh no. Poor Clyde. He panicked. He was looking for you and he couldn't find you.
Oh, I opened the door and he just looks like a statue, big eyes. And I go, get out of here, Clyde. And he's sliding on the tile and trying to get out. And anyway, but yeah,
So what are you going to do? Like, now that you have a reputation to have Clyde, are you going to have to start some younger buffalo because he won't live forever?
yeah, I don't know. People have said that. And then even I talked to some people that had handled buffalo before. And when I was getting him, I said there was a little heifer and a bull calf. Same time, they said, well, the heifer will be easier to handle, but the bull calf will get bigger and more impressive. So I took the bull calf. They're opposite of humans. Or in this instance, they said the female would be easier to handle. But and, but they said like maybe 1 in 10 works out. Somebody else that had trained some had told me, but I got lucky or just persistent. And he's been handled so dang much that yeah, he's somebody in clean the stall every day and out and at so many parties and events and stuff. So he's pretty good, but I don't know if I'll get another one or not. If one come around, I guess I'm actively looking now, but I have other people get a hold of me. They thought it was neat and they got some and they said, man, they're getting hard to handle. They go, instead of getting tamer, they're getting tougher. But you got to be firm with them because like you got to have a little bluff because he's big enough. He could do what he wanted and stuff. So, and and he knows where the tip of those horns is. He can just pick up a bucket or there'd be a saddle. Used to have him in the yard and he'd just pick up the D ring, just stick his horn right in the D ring and just pick it up and throw it over his head and pick up buckets and stuff. He knows. He leave his door open an inch and he sees that little deal and he just sticks his horn in there and just slides it open, swings it and just slides it open, walks right out and stuff. And,
wow. So you have to have a special latch on his stall or anything like serious?
Like you can't leave it open like that at all and stuff. But he's not bad like banging up panels and gates and stuff like that. He's pretty good. Cars. One time we had a wedding here and I had some Indians here from Montana and they set up a couple big teepees I had and somebody let him out that night again too. And I don't know, he doesn't bother a car, doesn't bother anything else, but he shredded those teepees. I don't know if you remembered some of the Indians running them off a cliff or what, but anyway, they were just ripped to shreds. I mean,
wow.
But other than that, he didn't really wreck. I can't think of anything else. He's wrecked like a vehicle or anything. He just doesn't get close to or anything.
He
gets close, but yeah, like he was in the house. Like we had him in here like a year ago, and I mean, like my house ain't that big, but I'm like, but he got through and he turned his head. He knows where his horns is just so he can get through into the kitchen and stuff like that. But I mean, like it's pretty small, but he knows exactly his size and where he can go and stuff. So yeah.
So what is your favorite Clyde story? Tell us a story. Your favorite Clyde story.
Favorite Clyde story. Jesus. Geez. Well,
or you can tell more than one.
Yeah. A few of them and stuff. And even on a movie set one time, I guess we were filming and I made the halter just out of wire, like baling wire. And I ended up, I was leading him with that. And he's usually pretty good, but this was a few years ago and he wasn't as good. And then stuff. And anyway, we're filming this show with Josh Brolin, that Outer Range. And they have like these dollies. It's like train tracks where they run the cameras on the cars and stuff. And there's about probably 100 movie people off to one side. And I got to lead him by the car and they just have the camera roll right next to him and stuff. And all the people right on the other side of the train tracks or dolly tracks and stuff. And I'm leading him and he throws his head to the side and this wire breaks and I fall on my ass and then he goes and instead of just leaving and just going off into this big pasture on a big ranch, he splits the crowd like just like Moses and shit. He goes there. Guy comes up to me, man, I'm 65 years old and I jumped under that truck so fast and this here and I went over and just caught him again. It wasn't hard, but there was a lot of people moving fast anyway, but he wouldn't hurt anybody, but he went right through the middle and he split it pretty fast. Yeah.
He's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah. Tell us another one. These are good.
Yeah. What else he did? Let's see what else he done with him. Um, mm, had him downtown Santa Fe again the other day, but was a documentary out Ken Burns did on the American Buffalo and stuff, so I took him downtown Santa Fe for that deal. But let's see what else he done. Geez.
Well, he's got the Yeti cooler where he flips it
Yeah,
up. And
and that's what it did. Yeah, even I did that, and he had these Yeti coolers and stuff. A friend of mine, his granddaughter started working for Yeti, so I gave her the idea. I said, so I throw coolers in there, and I used to take and just cut a hole in these coolers, and I just throw some treats in there. So I'd buy coolers at flea market, junk yard sales, and I'd throw in there, and he'd knock around, treats come out. So they sent me a Yeti cooler and stuff, and he just beats the crap out of it. I mean, he rolling around. Sometimes he gets his horn in the handle and flows over the fence and stuff like that. And he's, I've had to put the lid on several times. Now I got it glued on, screwed on and stuff because he's getting a little.
So they're not as tough as they say then.
Yeah. After a while, they say they're bear proof inside, but it doesn't say buffalo proof. Yeah.
So what's Clyde's favorite human food?
His favorite is cantaloupe, actually. He likes cantaloupe and he likes pumpkins too, but cantaloupe's kind of his favorite. And the pumpkins I figured out, I just had an old pumpkin for Halloween and stuff, and I threw it out back one day. It was getting old, and I went over there, and here he ate the whole thing. So after Halloween, a friend of mine, he drops off about 50 pumpkins. He picks up in town, and they get rid of them. But like cantaloupe, I think is his favorite and stuff, actually, or muskmelon, actually. So I get him those as treats. We do photo shoots, and I get him a few of those.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. He drinks. He likes margaritas and whiskey and beer. He won't drink water out of a glass, but he'll drink margarita or a little bourbon or a beer.
Well, he is your buffalo after all. I love it. There was when I grew up, there was a Belgian that was named Ace, and we were in a real rural area, and every summer one of the neighbors about 5 miles down the road through an old dirt trail had a party, and big old time summer bonfire, keg of beer, whatever. And Ace's owner would drive Ace in his little wagon from a few miles down the road to come to the party, and Ace would sit at the party and he would drink beer with everybody the whole night. But then his owner would pass out in the wagon. You couldn't tell he was there. He's flat out, and Ace would bring him home. So there you go. You should train Clyde to just take you home.
Good. You could. I thought about trying to break him to drive. I don't know. Think about it. It'll be a job, but I think you'd have to hook him up.
That's something you probably should have taught him when he was like 4 months old.
Oh, I should have.
Yeah, have to be an automatic transmission. He probably couldn't get the manual down.
I know. And we had him in other photo shoots for like even Adobe Photoshop and stuff, and different people on him. So he really respects me and stuff. He doesn't really like me on him, but my son rides him all the time, and I can put other people on him and stuff. And some people said my kids said I feel safer on his back than in front of him. But he's nice to be around. He used to throw his head a little bit and stuff. People stand next to him, he just want a little distance and throw his head, and now he's just chilled out more and more. Actually, when he started getting best, I mean, like, cause I was always a little scared. I've worked in France in the Wild West show, and there's buffalo had killed a few horses there, and stuff. They knew where the horns were and stuff. So I was a little scared. And then people kept telling me stories. Oh, you're gonna get killed by him. And I heard this story and this. And when they're 6 is when 5 is when they kill the owner, and blah blah blah. But anyway, when we started working on this movie, Outer Range, we'd be with him like 12, 14 hours a day, standing and stuff. And that's when he got really good to handle and stuff, just around him, just holding him. And he's like standing, I'm like, they'll roll camera just right up, like just inches from him. And he stands pretty dang good. They don't realize how lucky they are on some of these shots. I'm like, how good he is, but yeah.
I'm pushing it, but I'm not telling you.
Yeah.
Does he ever have days when he's angry, when he's off, when he's
When I started keeping him in the corral, because he started going over my neighbors. I had him outside for the first year and a half. And then my neighbors said that, he roamed over there and ate some of their vegetation. And I go, well, that's what buffaloes do, is they roam. But anyway, so I had to put him in the corral and stuff. And he just grind his teeth. He did for like probably 6 weeks. He just grind his teeth, was mad. And then he used to be hard to put in, but now it's home. And I just, when I'm done at a photo shoot or somewhere, I just open up the trailer door and grab a scoop of grain and just walk over to his stall. And he just follows me out and follows me into his stall and just, yeah, he's good.
So exercise wise, does he need exercise, or do you take him?
No, I do. Well, I started like, well, yeah, I let him out and stuff. He plays with the dogs a lot. The dogs just love, they just go back and forth and they're friends. I mean, like, it looks terrible. It looks like they're going to kill each other, but, they're buddies and stuff. I was worried one time his horn hooked my one dog's collar and threw the dog about 20 feet, and the dog coughed and had like a hoarse voice for about a day, and then he stayed away, and then they started playing again. But little accident there. But they play and go back and forth, and they get right by his head, and he's runs back and forth, jumps up and down and stuff, and he just loves playing with the dogs and stuff. And then I, like, before a photo shoot and that's something, I'd let him out and I'd just jump on a horse and just trot around, lope behind him for 15, 20 minutes and just get a little air out of him. But the last time I tried that, he just stopped and turned, faced the horse and shook his head. So we don't do that anymore.
You're like, okay.
Do it.
What's been the most surprising thing that he's done that you went, I didn't know that they could do that, or were supposed to, or could, or?
Well, the most amazing thing was him opening the door, just figuring that out at like 4 months old and stuff. I mean, I've got videos, I mean, like, of him just doing it, and you could hear him playing with the door. So I just go and lock the door, and stuff, so it wouldn't come in and stuff. And then figuring that out, open that up, and how smart he was, actually, that was the biggest surprising thing. And then also about how, like I said, like, he's different than, I mean, like, I have a little longhorn we're messing with now, and that's 10 times easier than this buffalo was, and the buffalo's good now, but he was pretty tough, actually. And then he had, like, even like I said, he'd get the door open, but even playing with the dogs and stuff, he's good, and he just plays. I mean, like, when he was a little pup or a little calf, some stranger cowboy's dog would come up and want to nip his hind leg. These dogs do it all the time with cattle, and cattle always miss most of the time. And this buffalo, every time, just boom, and he hit the dog every time. I mean, like, he was quick and accurate. But now, like, when he's playing with my dogs, they go behind him, and he just fake kicks over their heads, and he just kicks and just acts like I'm bad, but actually he's just playing with them and stuff. So it's kind of neat.
But he's super, I mean, he knows exactly what he's doing then with his feet.
He does, yeah. So he just acts like he's kicking over their head, and the dog's going to just stand by his back legs and look the other direction. They're not very smart sometimes and stuff, and he doesn't kick them or do anything. But when he's jumping around and spinning, looks like he's just tearing it up and stuff. He's shaking his head and kicking out, and he could if he wanted to, but they're buddies, I guess. So he was, about the size of a big Australian Shepherd when I got him. He was pretty little, so yeah. He'd attack me in the trailer. He'd put his head down. I'm sure he'd just survival, his tail up and head down. He'd just run at me in the trailer, and I'd lock my legs around his head and just pet on him. And then I'd let him go, open my legs, and he'd back up into the corner and paw, and then he'd attack me again. I'd just put my legs around his head and just scratch on him and stuff. And yeah, so he just, again, know that it wasn't there to hurt him, but anyway.
Yeah, so now you guys are buddies, right? Like, have you ever seen him actually, like, stand up for you or be, kind of, he's obviously attached to you, but has he ever kind of gotten in between you and somebody, or acted like, hey, he's my guy, you need to stay away from our herd here?
Yeah, I've had, like, I think there's been a few people that, like, he didn't like, that acted like close to me and stuff, so he didn't really like them. And actually, he has had a little bit of that, and that's when a few people said, boy, he doesn't like me because he sees me close with you and stuff like that. I think it might be a little bit of that.
So
and him, like, Yeah, I'm like anywhere. I'm like I'd drive in the yard and stuff when he was a calf. I'd drive in and he'd know my vehicle and he'd just run with the dogs just right next to my truck, just look like one of the dogs and stuff. And he recognized me anywhere. Try to fool him and walk different, but he is so sharp. I'm like he does things. He knows me and I just call him and
2,000-pound dog.
yeah, I know. But yeah, he knows it. I mean, like actually everybody they start knob at him in parades and stuff, and people they know his name better than mine. They go, "Oh, it's Clyde and his Buffalo." Actually, I have a name Clint. Yeah,
So
Actually, he's Clyde and I'm Clint.
so what are some of the movies that he has been in?
There's a new Netflix out now. It's called American Primeval that he had a little bit in that when they were filming last year, and then Yellowstone, and then this Outer Range. He is in a lot of episodes of that one with Josh Brolin. Then I took him out to Hollywood for a Disney show called Bunked. I think Bunkd, apostrophe D, I guess, or something. But took him out, and there it was different because usually on sets it's different. They can take their time. I mean, it's on a real long time, but anyway, this was a TV show, so they can't paint out like the wire halter and lead and stuff like that. So um, we had him loose on stage and stuff, and he had to go walk across this stage that looked like a forest and go over to a Jeep and look in the window and stuff. So we take the halter off, and he'd walk over to that, and we kind of had a little grain over there, and we filmed it 3-4 times, and it got pretty good. Then one time he just decided not to, and he started walking right in the studio just down the middle of the carpet, and everybody kind of split there too. There's over the speaker, loose buffalo, and then I just ran in front of him. He's just walking. I can just stand in front of him, and he usually stops and stuff.
That's pretty funny. So do you trust him though? I mean, obviously you keep your eyes open, but for you to handle him, I mean, you kind of have to have a trust with him, right?
Yeah, and I did. And actually, and he has to really respect me and stuff because he's, he could do anything if he wanted to, but I trust him a lot more now. Like I said, after working with long days on movies and stuff, just a lot more trust. I was always just a little nervous, at the tip of the horn, what he could do, but anyway, but he's sure gotten, yeah, a lot more trustworthy. And like I said, he throw his head around stuff like that, but just gets better all the time every year. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else.
So is he kind of keeping you busy, like full time? Are you Clyde's agent, and that's what you're doing now?
Should be doing more. I am doing more. I never expected it. I just thought he'd just be a pet. I think subconsciously, my dad wanted a buffalo, 50 years ago or something, and he went to Sutton Sale in South Dakota to get a buffalo calf, and they were like $500 then, and shit, we didn't have that money and stuff, so he never got one. And then I think I just subconsciously thought it'd be kind of neat, and I got this one. He's been good. And right now I got a call yesterday. I got to take him to Vail in a few weeks for a photo shoot. There's a big photographer, David Yarrow, and he's pretty big time. He's from England, and so he's shot him several times, usually in little ski towns. I've been to Aspen, and I'm going to Vail this time. I was up in Durango and Silverton and stuff like that. And he likes filming in the snow. He was with that big train about a month ago or something like that. We did with him, and I got to take him up. And then there's maybe a private party up in Jackson Hole, maybe over the 4th of July. I might be taking him. So I got a couple of things lined up and a few other things, but not a lot. But yeah, I should start advertising better, I guess.
Does he have his own web page or?
Yeah, started like Instagram, like Clyde the Buffalo on Instagram, and a little bit on Facebook, and that's it. But yeah, and starting to put more on that. Got to get more out there.
Yeah. I mean,
Clyde's pretty well now too, that he's solid, like I guess that like a horse, they mature, they settle in. The more time you spend, they get really solid in what they do. Now you know what he's capable of or not capable, like what he's gonna do. And
yeah, like even I took him even to this other rodeo. It was the Professional Armed Forces world championship rodeo, and we put flags across them, boots in the stirrups backwards and stuff for all the fallen soldiers and armed forces and stuff like that, and took them out for that, and that was pretty cool. They like that.
Does Clyde have any competition? Are there other trained buffaloes?
There's one out in California, but he's getting pretty old and kind of, yeah, he's getting a little older, not quite as gentle. I know the owners of that one too, and they said he doesn't lead around quite like Clyde and stuff. And then there's a few other people that got some up and coming now, I think is all, but I think he's kind of probably, I got lucky, and he's a pretty good looking one too. Some aren't as good looking and stuff. I mean, maybe I'm prejudiced because he's my baby.
I never thought I would hear up and coming with regards to a buffalo.
Yeah.
An up and coming buffalo.
And that's I had a few people reached out to me, and they go, "Man, they're getting tougher and tougher, you know." And I go, they can. You got to be kind of firm with them, but yeah, and stuff. And that's it. I'm like him, it's like a mule. I mean, he just got that thick, strong neck where if he starts to turn away, you got to just pull back right away instantly and stuff. If he got, like I said, when we were filming up at Durango with this big steam train, we went up a couple days early to get him used to it. And man, that steam train honked the horn, blew the steam out, and it was big and black. And man, he took off across the parking lot, and I'm old and shit and wearing boots and sliding across solid ice. And I don't know how I stayed up. But anyway, we got him back and tied him to a post, and then he stood a little better. But yeah.
I'd be scared too if a big steam engine blew its horn right behind me and came at me.
Maybe he knew that they were shooting all those buffalo out of the trains years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Having bad dreams coming back.
Yeah, it was. Huh? That's like he ripped up the teepees in the train. Yeah, I think he's.
That's amazing that he ripped up the teepees.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Shred and I come out, man. I called up the Indians that set him up. I go, "You guys don't set him up very good." And they go, "What happened?"
Well, thank you so much for sharing Clyde with us. That's in all your stories. I mean, he's really a unique guy. If people want to know about or follow Clyde or anything on Facebook, where do they go?
Yeah, it's just Clyde the Buffalo on Facebook and Instagram, I believe.
Thank you, Clint, so much. Robin, do you have anything else to add?
No, this is wonderful. Thanks, Steve and Clint. It's always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Tell Clyde we appreciate him and appreciate you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap this up. Now, Buffalo may roam, but we don't want you to roam. So show up next week, and who knows, we're going to be here at the View from the Summit. Thank you very much. We'll see you.
This program is made possible by Summit Animal Health. If you have a dog, cat, or horse with mobility issues, Summit Animal Health has the all-natural, drug-free solution that comes with a satisfaction guarantee. Summit Animal Health products are used by Olympic gold medal equestrians, leading rodeo stars, professional dog trainers and handlers, and people just like you. Whether working companion or couch potato, Summit Animal Health can keep them moving. Check them out online at summitanimals.com. New to Summit? Use the code VIEW15 and receive 15% off your initial order. We'll see you next week for another View from the Summit.